welcome back to the latest episode of the R&D Podcast. I am your host, Rachel.
I'm Delia.
And in this episode, we're going to be talking about, is it business
Or pleasure.
or pleasure that they are seeking to do with you?
Oh my gosh.
Have with you. Be with you.
What is it? What is it?
So we're business women, right? And in the business world, obviously, there are now more business women. There's more women in business, right?
For sure.
And it's been an amazing thing to witness. But there also is still the reality that men dominate most industries.
For sure.
And when you're a woman getting into business, of course, you want to network and connect and collaborate and do all these things. So as women, we talked about this in a past episode, we can have guy friends and see it just as friends. And we can have male associates and see it just as
Male
a work
associates.
friend, or, you know, a guy that owns a business that he's my client or whatever.
Mm.
However, when those men start to message or email or text saying, hey, maybe we should get together for lunch and talk business,
Right.
what actually happens?
Well, I think oftentimes that's like the hook, right? Or, you know, think about it. When you're going to networking events, like you are giving them the most personal information that you could ever give them, which is your business card. It tells you where you work. It basically tells you what you basically do for a living. It has your contact information. Usually
Sometimes
it has
your photo,
or you have your social media handles on there. So obviously if you meet someone kind of just passing through, you give them your card, or if it's a digital card, they have access or accessibility to all the things that you are about. And I definitely think that, you know, social media kind of gives you insight of who you are. You know, do you take risque pictures? Do you not? Are you all business? Are you not? Yeah. What kind of business are you in? And I think oftentimes, you know, if a guy sees that, they might say, hey, you know what? I want to talk to you about the possibility of doing business with you because of this. Or maybe you're a real estate agent. I was looking to buy a house. And we know that as business women, I mean, real estate agents, respectfully, and I have my license too, they come a dime a dozen. And so I think that, you know, oftentimes they'll come at you in that regard because maybe they're trying to lock down a little business, but really in the end, they want a little pleasure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you got to know how to gauge that. Especially if you're married, I think it's really important. You know, I did sales for a very, very long part of my career life. I did sales for a long time, and I could kind of gauge whether or not they were trying to close the deal, you know, where I was going to close the deal on them, or they're supposedly trying to close the deal on me. And I think it just depends. Oftentimes I've heard of, you know, situations where people will get into a business dealing thinking, oh my gosh, if I go to dinner with him, I'm going to close a deal. And it doesn't happen that way. And then all of a sudden the deal that you thought you were going to close kind of, you know, falls apart because you need to know what lies. Is it business or is it pleasure? Yes. And you got to know how to differentiate that.
You know, yes, my entire career, male-dominated industry, right? Media.
Yeah.
And it's shifted now. There's more women, obviously, in media and everything. But it was very, very, very male-dominated when I was in it.
I can only imagine.
And even now, still certain business dealings that I have, you know, it's a lot of the men, the heavy hitters are the men, right?
Right.
And I still see that. Sometimes with me, oftentimes with my friends, right? Female friends that are also trying to make their way through business. And what I have been able to observe is that there have been deals, and Delia knows this about me, like I will be called in to like negotiate deals. Like get the deals done. And so oftentimes it might be my beautiful friend that maybe met someone at a lounge in Newport Beach, and next thing you know, this guy is like, oh, I have $300,000 that I could just invest, you know, this quarter, no big deal. And it's like, okay, Rachel, can you come in and help me with that?
Yeah.
And I've been able to witness time and time and time again with all different people, by the way, females, beautiful females, wonderful friends of mine, where they go, oh, it's no big deal, I'm just going to meet him for dinner. And I say, no, get the deal done in the light.
The bag.
Get the deal done in the light first. Like bring somebody with you. Like first handle the business. And when we close this deal, then you know what? Sure, you can take me to dinner. We'll celebrate. Then think about your future if you think this guy is worth something. Because what ends up happening is men, they just want access to you. And if you're a beautiful woman, you're a smart woman, whatever, they're attracted to you, they're going to go, oh my God, how do I get access to someone like her?
Wow.
I'm going to go use the guise of business to pick her brain or whatever, and I'm going to dangle this investment or dangle the opportunity of like, I might be interested in buying a house, you know, in Newport Beach, to get her to be like, wow, okay, okay, like
I'm
he
gonna
might
have to
be
close this
a
deal.
big deal that I close, and then
or it depends. You know, they will also present it to you in a way that if this person's well-to-do, then his circle probably is well-to-do. And it's like, you know, I really think that I see so much potential because I have this, and this friend that are looking for to buy, to sell, to this, to that, to trade, whatever industry that you're in, they're going to sell you in the dream of all their contacts. So here you are thinking, great, if I can just lock this contract down or this deal down, then I have accessibility to all of his network. And sometimes that's not the way it works.
You gotta put the greed aside, and you gotta be willing to walk away from certain situations. And the reason I say greed is because it's so easy for our eyes to get really wide and go, oh my God, but this could potentially be a really big deal.
Yeah.
And you gotta be in an energy, in a position to be able to walk away and to say, I don't gotta grovel for nobody, and don't be that pick me energy. And don't be leaning so far forward. You know, they're trying to lure you in. It's like, no, like that's your potential client. Like, get them to come this way, and first handle the business and the light, because I'm going to tell you 100% of the time, and I've only said this twice on the show. 100% of the time, when I see the woman get really far in the deal, in the brainstorming of how they can collaborate, again, with the opposite sex and stuff like that, when all of a sudden they take it after hours and they take it, a funny meme. Here, I just sent her a funny meme. And then she's like, oh my God, look at this funny video he sent me. Ha ha ha, you're so funny. And then here's another one. And then, no, you're funny. And then, oh, really? And then here comes the banter. And as soon as you participate in the banter, you are no longer being looked at as a potential business anything. It's gone. You just threw it away.
Okay.
Light a match, put some kerosene on it. It's done. They don't see you like that anymore. Okay. And now everything is, you know what? I got tickets to this thing. You should come with me. Now it's not business anymore. It's not the light. Pleasure. Now it's a date. But they're not calling it a date though.
Right.
Because you're still like, oh, like he wants to take me to this thing, but like I think I want to go because, you know, he might invest in my company, because he might buy this house or whatever it might be. So you go. Well, no, you're on a date, okay? Yeah. And then you're thinking, well, it's harmless, you know, he's nice, I'm just going to learn. The amount of women I've heard, I'm just going to go to the dinner because, you know what? Worst case scenario, I will learn something from him or I will connect. No, you are burning a business bridge. Not. You might open a romantic bridge, for sure, and like you might end up with someone. But business bridge, you're burning. It's done.
It's burning
Consider
up.
It
it's burning up. Yeah. But I think even with women, though, I'll tell you, because obviously I did sales for a very long time, and a lot of the time women will be very forward. Like, look, if I can get this deal done. You know, especially when it comes to human resources managers, because, you know, I was doing sales, specific sales at one point or another, and the women would be like, I will take care of you, you know. And so, absolutely, bonuses? For sure.
They were handing out bonuses?
I mean, they were. And you know, and the unfortunate part about that is when you're
what happened to, like, Laker tickets?
I mean, no. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, the thing about this is that, you know, I heard it firsthand where they're like, well, you know, this sales rep came in and said that she's going to give this type of bonus. And let me tell you something. I know how to read between the lines. And mama didn't raise no fool, and I'm like, yeah, that's not the type of, you know, business dealing that we're doing over here. And I guarantee you she closed that deal somehow, some way, possibly. I'm not saying that's the way you should operate, but a lot of the time women are also very forward. So it's not always men that are coming after you. Yeah. It's also women that are trying to lock down the deal, and to them it's not a big deal. Like, okay, well, you know what? This is what I got to do. I'm gonna do it. And so I think it's a matter of being strategic on what the end game plan is. Are you trying to, get money to have someone invest in your company? Are you trying to get more leads to buy or sell properties? Are you trying to get more leads for XYZ? I mean, getting intentional is really important instead of just being like, you know, sometimes we do go with the flow. It's like when you go to a networking event, you can have a game plan. Like, okay, I intend to meet 10 people, or I intend to make this many contacts, or give this many business cards, or, you know, whatever it is.
Or follow up from that event with like 3 coffee meetings or whatever.
And, you know, there's all these strategies, right? Especially with modern day social media. You got every coach in your ear telling you how you need to close a deal, what you need to do, how many times you need to communicate. You got to make 30 calls a day to keep filth away or poverty away is what I've heard. forward. And so I think it's having a game plan and being strategic on, okay, does this seem like he's being a sleazeball? Because it's happened to me. LinkedIn, by the way, guys, LinkedIn. Oh my gosh. LinkedIn has been the new hookup page, in my opinion. Like, they're no longer coming at you with business. Now they're like, so, hey, are you single? So, hey, what's up? And I'm like, I had to check, and I'm like, am I on LinkedIn? Like, what am I in?
So here's the thing with LinkedIn that's been happening for about 7 years is the women for hire set up LinkedIn accounts, and they go and they connect with executives that they've never met. And so one of the things on LinkedIn is if you're just going and connecting with a bunch of people you've never met in person and your photo looks kind of provocative, I'm not saying you did that, by the way, but they'll automatically be like, oh, I bet it's one of these ladies. And so there's a whole thing that happens on LinkedIn. And I thought, when I heard about it years ago, I was like, wow, how smart, how clever for these escorts.
Never guessed.
So, like Russian escorts, all different ones, and they put the little blazer on and the cute top, and then they go and they create a LinkedIn account, and then they hit up the CEOs of this, that, and the other. And so like I said, I heard that before COVID from some of the guys, and I'm like, yeah, LinkedIn's becoming the new like Polo Lounge. You just go and they're coming up. And so I don't know. I'm not saying that that's what's happening.
No, I'm not saying that it's happening to me, but I have talked to several people, by the way, and the consensus are very much the same, which is there's a lot of people being super forward.
Yes.
And it's not like they're asking me, how much do you charge? Because Lord knows it's not the case. You know what I mean? Like, but it's very indirect. It's very like subtle, and it's not a lot, but it's happening more often than not. I've had LinkedIn since 2012.
Yeah.
So there's been an evolution of becoming, it was a platform. No, not even that. It's an evolution of a platform that was supposed to be a business platform that has turned into this like, I don't know, this crazy hookup situation. And now that you're saying that, now that makes sense.
Oh,
now that you're saying
so
that, totally makes sense.
That happened.
For sure. That makes sense now.
Yeah, so that's how that happened, because LinkedIn used to be a fairly boring place and pretty static. But then that ended up happening. And the first time I had heard about it was 2017. And I remember thinking, like, you got to be kidding me. That is so, because it's kind of a stale place. But then you think, oh, but that's a great in. It's still a great place to connect and do business. But I will tell you, like, I've heard these stories.
Yeah.
Listen, the other flip side to this, you guys, if you're a woman and you're listening, you're like, well, I want to start a business because I'm a single woman. I feel like it's a better way to meet higher level men. That is 1,000% accurate.
Yeah.
It's so much better to start a business, be about your money, and connect and network in your industry with leaders of your industry than it is to just like look pretty and sit at some lounge and hope somebody picks you, right? And in this day and age, right? Or be on dating apps and swiping right or whatever and trying to figure out if they're the real deal of who they say they are.
Right.
When you're in business mode, you're meeting other people in business mode. You might meet them through a friend who you really respect. They're kind of third party vetted. So
of course.
It's so much easier to meet people when you're in the business arena that you might be able to have commonalities with. But just remember this. If you don't hold the line and focus on getting the business done before anything, and you skip the business deal and that worked, that just dangling the idea of business worked for you to jump over that fence, and go right to dinner, and now he has access to you, now you're chummy and talking about personal stuff or whatever, even if you end up with him, he will always see that you being out there in the business world is a threat to him. And he's going to be insecure. He's never going to forget that he met you like that. And so there's going to be this little element of not trusting you around business men. And so, I've heard this across the board, oh, I'll never forget how I met her, this, that. And sometimes if it's not in a great way, it could be harmless in your mind, but in his mind, he's like, oh, I can't trust her.
I know, because it's like, I always say this, I think, as they say, first impressions are everlasting.
Yes.
So you're always going to remember how you met a person, whoever that is. I don't even care. Whether you looked to your nines or you didn't look to your nines or you were in a chongo or however it was. It's always like the first impressions of how you meet somebody. So I think it's definitely important to kind of get mindful or get really strategic on what the game plans are.
And make it hard. There should be a high barrier to entry to you.
Right.
So like if it's business, they have access, meaning they're meeting you at Starbucks. They're meeting you at the networking event. It is business above board, in the light. Maybe it's an evening mixer, but there's other people there. And if you keep it business,
but I think that you're speaking more in regards to maybe this specific what you're
I'm
the
talking
advice
about
to
the
single
men.
women.
Yeah, no, but yeah, here's the thing. Even married women, think about this. Because men are going to try it. They're going to use business to try to get access to you.
Right.
So I think that you got to remember, keep it business, make him work for it. Even if it's a guy you like, even if you're like, oh my God.
But you shouldn't like a guy if you're married, though. So that doesn't really apply to
I'm
married
just
people.
saying, no,
like in general,
No, but we're talking about
the single
out there. So
women,
I think that when you're going out there is what I'm trying to communicate is that, enjoy the ride, but get the focus on the business. Make it difficult for him to get you to dinner.
Yes.
Make it difficult for him to have access to you, because if it was 1-2 punch and there it is, he will forever remember that about you. If you value your career, you're not going to be free to really have that career after you're with him. Right. So my biggest thing, and also people communicate in business.
No, that's true.
So if you do something with one guy in business, he's going to go play golf and tell the other guys that he took you to dinner, and now they're all going to try it. So my whole biggest thing is this. Even if you meet a man and you're like, wow, he's the CEO of this company, he's kind of hot, like I could see myself dating someone like that, and it starts with business, great, it'll evolve, but first and foremost, hold the line of like, what's the story going to be when I'm walking down the aisle, and start like holding the line.
But again, that would only apply if you're a single woman.
That's what
obviously, But if you're a married woman, obviously, because also like you just said, with women that are married, men are going to try it. So this is us speaking to the single women. If you're going to embark in business and understanding that you got to be strategic and you got to hit your numbers and do the things, but do it the right way. Don't try to what is it? Cheat the system.
Don't hack the system.
Don't try to hack the system.
Don't hand out bonuses.
Yeah, do not do that.
I think if you're married, you're married.
If you're married, you need to really hold the line.
This conversation is really for the single women, because you're going to lose the deals if you're handing out bonuses or giving him too much access to you before you have.
But there's a lot of women that are trifling, though.
No, I'm telling you. No, there's women.
So even trifling, women are
men.
I know, and women are trifling too in regards to. And I'm not trying to get all like.
No, we're just saying the topic is he trying to do business with you, or is he trying to do pleasure with you? Because
guys still want to do pleasure with married women. I'm saying.
It
still happens. You know what I mean? Like
get the business done.
Yeah, but get the business done and don't lose focus on that.
It's none of our business if you're married and you want to do something else. For this topic,
but
secure the bag.
Secure the bag. That's it. And then Rachel and I are agree to disagree, but we are on the same page at the end of the day. But it's true.
Yeah,
it's like get the business done and like don't worry about whether or not he wants to take me out to dinner. Imagine you telling your husband he wants to take me out to dinner. Like, I don't know. I think dinner is definitely more intimate, in my opinion.
There's no reason to go to dinner
when you're married.
Even if they're your client.
I agree.
There's no reason to go to dinner.
Unless you're going as a group of people where everyone agrees, like, we're all going to dinner.
Yeah.
And, you're allowed to bring your spouse or your significant other.
Or just a work associate.
Or work associates, exactly. So,
I think that's the given, but in speaking with, are people using business in order to get access to you as a woman? 1,000%.
Always.
And if you gamble that by saying, oh, I'm going to go to dinner with him, I'm still going to go to this place with him.
Oh, yeah.
Even though we didn't do the deal yet, you lost.
Yeah.
Like, you lost already.
Loss.
So that's my biggest thing. And if you work for a great company, they're giving you sports tickets and all that.
Come on now. Just ask them for your tickets.
Choose your bonuses wisely.
That's all we got.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.